North Carolina is a very popular state these days with some very well-run cities. They also got some places that are straight up weird, and that's what we're looking at today. Let's take a look. Stop number 1, Bath, North Carolina. Bath looks harmless. That's how they get you. Quiet streets, old homes, and sunsets that look like they go on a travel website for baby boomers. But underneath that sunset and polite southern charm is a place that casually hosted one of the most infamous pirates in history, like he was just some guy next door popping over to borrow your, rope, rum, or whatever counted as a lawnmower back in the golden age of pirates. The place is still the same, just with fewer swords, newer homes, and significantly less violent neighbors. Okay, so it's nothing like it used to be. Let's talk about that neighbor, Blackbeard. Around 1718, Blackbeard wasn't just passing through Bath, he was essentially using it as a home base. He even received what was basically a legal pardon from the governor of North Carolina, which is a wild sentence if you think about it for more than like 5 seconds. Imagine being a local farmer at the time, trying to mind your own business, and the guy next door is a pirate who occasionally sets his beard on fire to make a point. That's not a fun fact, that's a lifestyle concern. These days, all his pirate buddies would sit him down and have an intervention. Bath's early history is soaked up in that kind of chaos, dressed up as normalcy. It was founded in 1705, and it was North Carolina's first incorporated town, which sounds impressive until you realize that it quickly became a hub for trade, politics, and apparently, let's pretend the pirate isn't here, attitudes. It didn't have strong defenses, it didn't have strict oversight, and it definitely didn't have a solid plan for dealing with someone like Blackbeard. So naturally, he thrived here. Now here's where things get a little more interesting. There are long-standing local stories that Blackbeard's spirit never really left. People have claimed to see a headless figure wandering near the water, which is tied to the fact that he was beheaded after his final battle. Because of course he was. If you're gonna live that life, you don't exactly get a peaceful retirement and a rocking chair, do you? And then of course there's the hidden treasure angle, because every pirate story needs one or it legally can't call itself a pirate story. For generations, people have searched around Bath and the surrounding waters for the hidden treasure supposedly left behind. Spoiler alert, nobody's found anything significant. But that hasn't stopped people from trying, digging, and convincing themselves that the next shovel of dirt is going to change their financial situation dramatically. The strange thing about Bath isn't just the history, it's about how casually it exists alongside modern life. You've got people walking their dogs, checking their mail, and going about a completely normal day, all in a place that was once basically a pirate's safe haven. There's no big dramatic warning sign when you enter the town. No, by the way, this place used to be run by a man who lit his face on fire for intimidation. Nothing, they just go about their business. What really sticks with you is the tone of the place. It's quiet, almost too quiet in certain spots, especially near the older buildings and the waterfront. Not a creepy horror movie way, but a subtle, this place remembers things kind of way. History doesn't feel like it's behind you in Bath. It feels like it's just standing off to the side, watching you act completely normal. So yeah, Bath is beautiful, it's historic, and peaceful, and it's also a town where one of the most infamous pirates in history once kicked back, got a government pardon, and may or may not still be wandering around without his head. Just your standard small town charm. Stop number 2, Roanoke Island. Roanoke Island isn't just weird, it's one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in American history. This is where the lost colony of Roanoke vanished in the late 1500s. Over 100 people disappeared without a clear explanation. No bodies, no clear evidence, just the word Croatoan carved into a tree or a post. That's it. That's the clue. Good luck solving that. Now, there have been a lot of theories. They joined a tribe of Native Americans, they were wiped out, they relocated. All of them are possible, none confirmed, which means the mystery just sits there, unresolved, like a historical loose end nobody can tie up. Very, very interesting story. I've always been fascinated with this one. There's a great book, I'll leave a link for it in the description area, but it's called Kingdom of Strange, The Brief and Tragic History of the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Read it a few years back, it's really good. Now the strange part is the scale. This wasn't one person gone missing. This was an entire community, and centuries later, we're still guessing. That's not just weird, that's unsettling in a way that doesn't disappear. What do you think happened to the settlers of Roanoke? I've kind of always thought that they maybe went to another island because they wrote Croatoan and there's another island there called Croatoan. Who knows? Stop number 3, Littleton, North Carolina. Littleton has one of those histories that starts normal and then slowly drifts into something you'd expect from a podcast with ominous background music. It was once a thriving railroad hub. Then, like many others, it declined when trains stopped mattering as much. But what people talk about these days, and even back then, are the ghost stories tied to Lake Gaston and the surrounding wooded area. There are long-standing local tales of ghosts, strange lights, and people hearing things they wish they hadn't heard. And I'm not talking teenagers with flashlights trying to scare people. Grown adults don't go in the woods at night. That type of scary. Now, there's a whole bunch of different stories, not just one. Some of these stories are tied to old homes and properties that date back to the town's early days. Others are tied to the land itself, which always adds an extra layer of, this place ain't right. When the actual land is the problem, there's not much that you could do to renovate it. Like all small town ghost stories, the locals are over it. They know all about it, and they're just very casual about it. Like, yeah, it's gonna rain Tuesday, and also don't go down that road at dark. There's even a sunken city at Lake Gaston. Back when this area was just a canal, that's how everything got around. Before the trains started working, they didn't need the canal anymore, so they just kind of let it overflow into a lake. They've also got stories of the Underground Railroad. Fascinating place. A lot of old history here. But the ghost stories are what make it weird. Stop number 4, Love Valley. Love Valley is kind of weird because it reminds me of one of those reality, dating shows like The Bachelor or Temptation Island or something like this. Love Valley sounds like one of those shows for women that have a lot of cleavage or something. I don't know. But Love Valley has a whole different thing going on. They decided they're going to be cowboys. Love Valley looks like someone built a cowboy movie set and forgot to yell cut. It was founded in the 1950s and was designed to be a Western-style town, complete with horses, dirt roads, and buildings that look like they belong in a Clint Eastwood movie. The founder, Andy Barker, wanted a place where people could experience the Old West lifestyle, so he created one. No cars in certain areas, horses are the main form of transportation, and the general vibe says, modern life is overrated, we don't need Wi-Fi. Historically, it became a gathering spot for horseback riders and people who really like pretending it's 1875. It's hosted rodeos, events, and enough cowboy-themed weekends to make you question what century you're in. The strange part is the commitment. This isn't just a theme park. This isn't just a place you go visit. People actually live here, full-time, by choice. You're not visiting a reenactment, you're stepping into someone's daily reality. And that's just where it gets a little strange. Little side note to this one, North Carolina's got a weird history of naming things that just don't sound right, like the town of Climax. Climax is a town that accidentally set expectations way too high and then just quietly became a normal place to live anyway. Stop number 5, Boogertown. Boogertown sounds like a place you threaten you're going to send your kids to if they don't behave. Eat your vegetables, or we're moving to Boogertown. Turns out it's real, and it's in the Smoky Mountains, as it should be. The name comes from boogers, an old term for ghosts or spirits. Early settlers believed the area was haunted. Instead of leaving, they just stayed and named the place after their fear, which is a bold strategy. If I named something after my fear, there'd be a town called Italian Ex-Girlfriend. Historically, it was a small Appalachian community with the usual mix of farming and mountain life. Nothing too out of the ordinary except for the constant implication that something unseen might be hanging around. The strange part is the contrast. It's actually a beautiful area with scenic views and peaceful surroundings, but the name keeps whispering, yeah, but what if it's haunted? And suddenly your relaxing drive feels like it's a little less relaxing. Now here's the rub. It's really not haunted. The stories are there, but they know how these stories started. Moonshiners. They didn't want people wandering through the woods and finding their moonshine operation, so they started the ghost stories about the boogeyman. One thing led to another, and Boogertown stuck. I love the whole moonshiner history. It's incredible. They're so secretive and all the laws they broke and how they had to do things, and a sport came from moonshining. Yeah, NASCAR. It started off because moonshine runners, the guys that would deliver it to people's house, they'd have to outrun the law all the time. So mechanics and drivers started getting together and figured out how to make these cars faster, and then eventually they kind of made it legit and started racing each other. After Prohibition and the Great Depression. Stop number 6, Batcave, North Carolina. Batcave is an unincorporated community in Henderson County, North Carolina, and it is part of the Asheville metro area. Batcave sounds like it should come with a billionaire vigilante and a secret entrance behind a waterfall. Instead, you get a tiny town near a massive cave system that's legitimately impressive. The cave itself is one of the largest granite fissures in the eastern United States. It's been studied, explored, and admired for years. The town grew around it because apparently living next to a giant cave wasn't intimidating enough to stop anyone from moving in. Historically, the area was tied to tourism and small-scale industries. People came to see the caves, enjoyed the scenery, and then headed on into Asheville to get all liquored up at a brewery. What makes it strange is the name's cultural baggage. You can't hear Batcave without thinking about comic books, so every time you visit, part of your brain is expecting a hidden lair and a dramatic reveal. I was never a Batman fan. Until recent years, I just remembered that 1960s TV show with Batman, and that one always just seemed a little weird. In recent years, I started watching the movies, and I kind of got into them. All right, before we go to our last stop, at the end of the video, they always suggest other videos for you to watch. Appreciate it if you'd watch one or two. It really helps the channel. All right, on to stop 7. And stop 7, Kill Devil Hills. Kill Devil Hills wins because it sounds like a warning, not a destination. Located in the Outer Banks, it's famous for being the site of the Wright brothers' first powered flight. Humanity learned to fly here, which feels like tempting fate given a name. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, wait, the Wright brothers did that at Kitty Hawk. Well, technically they did, but really they did it at Kill Devil Hills. Kitty Hawk is about 4 miles north, and back in the day, that was the nearest settlement. The name Kill Devil Hills wasn't really known to anyone, that wasn't a local. So they just assumed the whole place was Kitty Hawk, and that's what went in the history books. Now, the origin of the name is murky, but one popular theory is it involves strong rum that could kill the devil. Another story suggests the hills themselves were dangerous or treacherous. Either way, it stuck, and now it's on every road sign. Historically, it transformed from a remote coastal area into a tourist destination, beaches, history, and a steady flow of visitors that keep the town alive. It's actually a great place to visit, assuming you can get past a name that sounds like the boss level of a video game. But the strangeness is the contrast between reality and expectation. You arrive expecting chaos, danger, and maybe a dramatic showdown. Instead, you get a beach house and vacationers. It sounds like a horror movie, but then you get there and you find out it's a family picnic. All right, if North Carolina ever decides to rebrand, it's going to take a lot of work. Because right now, it's got towns that sound like breakfast items, philosophical debates, ghost stories, and rejected comic book locations. All within a couple hours of each other. And honestly, it's kind of the charm in the whole thing, I think. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you probably like one of these 2 videos right here. Go ahead and give those a look. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.